The transport ship flew through the deep space, passing silent stars and dark planets. Megan sat by the window, watching the moon of Vela grow bigger and bigger in the darkness. She held her backpack close, feeling a strange mix of worry and hope. This mission was important, maybe the most important thing she would ever do. Megan was not a doctor, but she was brave and caring, and that was why she had come all this way. She wanted to help. The team leader, Eric, stood up and called out to the group. He explained again why they were here. The Valen, a rare and secretive alien people, needed help. Their infants were getting sick, and the Valen could not find a cure. The Council on Earth had sent a small group of humans to try to help. No one knew much about the Valen except they lived in darkness and were afraid of outsiders. Megan listened carefully. She looked at the others on the team. Some were doctors, some scientists, and one engineer. Everyone looked nervous. The ship landed on Vela with a soft bump. The doors opened, and the world outside was different from any place Megan had ever seen. The sky was always twilight, with swirling mists and tall, black trees that reached for the sky. Small lights glowed in the shadows, and the air felt cool and quiet. Megan stepped out and breathed in. The darkness did not scare her. In fact, she felt peaceful, as if she had come home. A group of Valen waited for them. They were tall, thin, and very pale, with glowing eyes that shone softly in the half-light. Their hair was long and dark. They wore simple clothes, mostly dark blue and silver. The Valen looked at the humans with careful eyes, not angry, just wary, as if they were not sure what to expect. A Valen woman stepped forward. Her name was Nira, and she spoke English slowly and gently. She welcomed the humans to Vela and said she would take them to meet Lord Vereen, the leader of the Valen. Megan followed the group as they walked through the shadowy woods toward the main hall. She noticed that most of the humans seemed nervous about the darkness, stumbling over roots or whispering to each other. But Megan liked the quiet. She kept her eyes open and walked without fear. Inside the main hall, the light was even dimmer. Strange symbols were painted on the walls. At the end of the room stood Lord Vereen. He was very tall, with sharp features and hair as black as space. His eyes were a deep violet, and he stood very still, watching the humans with a cool, careful look. He wore a long cloak that brushed the floor. Lord Vereen welcomed the team in a low, calm voice. He explained that his people were suffering. Many infants had become sick, and nothing they tried seemed to work. He was thankful that the humans had come to help. He said his people had lived in peace and quiet for many centuries, but now they were afraid for the future. Eric introduced the team and promised that they would do their best. The doctors and scientists quickly asked to see the sick infants. Lord Vereen nodded and called for his people to bring them. Megan watched as small, pale babies were carried into the hall. They were weak and quiet, their skin almost see-through. The doctors examined them and whispered with worried faces. The medical equipment beeped and hummed, but nothing changed. Megan knelt by a little infant, a girl with tiny hands and shining eyes. The baby was breathing fast and looked so weak. Megan spoke softly to her, touching her hand. The Valen mother watched from the corner, her face full of sadness and fear. Megan wanted to help, but she did not know how. The doctors gave medicine, but the baby's condition did not improve. Days passed. The team worked hard, testing blood, giving shots, running scans, but nothing worked. The Valen parents watched with hope and then with fear as their babies grew weaker. Megan helped where she could, bringing water, changing blankets, holding the little ones, and singing to them softly when their mothers could not. One evening, Megan was walking near the medical tent. She saw Nira crying quietly under a tree. Megan sat down beside her and asked what was wrong. Nira said her own baby Kavi was now very sick. None of the treatments helped? Nira said she did not want her child to die. Megan felt a deep ache in her heart. She remembered her own family on Earth and wondered what it would feel like to lose a child. Suddenly, a shout came from the tent. Megan rushed inside. Little Kavi was struggling to breathe. The doctors looked helpless. The Valen parents wailed softly. Megan saw the monitors showing the baby's blood levels falling fast. She felt a wave of courage and made a quick choice. She called to Eric and the doctors. She said she wanted to try something different. Megan rolled up her sleeve and told the doctors to take her blood and give it to Kavi. At first, they refused. It was risky, and they did not know if it would work. Megan insisted. She said she was healthy and wanted to help. Finally, the doctors agreed. They took some of Megan's blood and carefully transfused it into the tiny Valen infant. Everyone waited. The Valen watched, holding their breath. Megan felt weak but calm. After a few minutes, Kavi's color improved. The baby's breathing slowed and became steady. The monitor beeped a little louder. The Valen mother cried with relief. The doctors were shocked but hopeful. Lord Vereen entered the tent and stood quietly, watching everything. He saw Megan sitting with Kavi in her arms, pale but smiling. He walked over and thanked her softly. His voice was full of wonder. He said he had never seen such kindness from any visitor before. That night, Megan lay awake, feeling tired but happy. She did not know what the next day would bring. She just knew. She had made a difference, even if it was small. In the darkness, she heard the quiet sounds of the Valen people, and she felt at peace. The other humans were surprised by what happened. Some of them whispered about Megan, wondering if she was too brave or too foolish. But Megan knew what she had done felt right. Lord Vereen watched her from a distance, his violet eyes full of questions and secrets. Megan drifted off to sleep, dreaming of stars and quiet voices, not knowing her life was about to change forever. The next morning, Megan woke up feeling weak, but her heart was light. She wanted to see how Kavi was doing. As soon as she walked into the medical tent, she saw Nira holding her baby. Kavi was awake and looking around with bright eyes. Nira hugged Megan and thanked her again and again. Other Valen parents came to look, amazed at the change. The news spread quickly across the camp that the human blood had saved the baby. The doctors and scientists were busy studying their test results. They said Megan's blood was different from the others. Something about it made the Valen infants stronger. One of the doctors, Lily, explained to Megan that her blood had special proteins and minerals, maybe because she grew up on Earth with sunlight and fresh air. Megan listened, but she only cared that the baby was safe. More Valen mothers came to ask for help. Their babies were sick, too. Megan wanted to help every one of them. The doctors told her she should rest. She had already given a lot of blood and needed time to recover. But Megan could not say no to the worried mothers with tears in their eyes. She agreed to help again. Over the next days, Megan gave her blood to more infants. Each time, she felt a little weaker, but she saw the babies get better. Their skin grew brighter, and they began to cry and eat again. The Valen parents began to trust Megan. Some even smiled at her when she passed by. The other humans noticed the change too. Eric worried that Megan was giving too much. He reminded her that she was only one person. But Megan could not turn away from those who needed her help. Lord Vereen watched everything from the shadows. He did not speak much, but he visited the medical tent every day to check on the infants. When he saw Megan working, he sometimes stopped and spoke quietly with her. He would ask her how she felt and listen to her answers. He thanked her many times for what she was doing for his people. One afternoon, Lord Vereen found Megan sitting under a tree, resting after her latest donation. He sat down beside her. He told her stories about the Valen people, how they lived for centuries in the darkness and grew strong by sharing their energy with each other. He explained that the Valen needed a special kind of energy to survive, which was found in certain types of blood. In the past, they had plenty of their own, but a sickness had spread through the community, making many weak. Megan listened carefully. She asked him if he was worried about the future of his people. Lord Vereen said yes, but he was grateful too. Her for giving them hope. As the days went by, Megan felt she was becoming part of the Valen world. She learned some of their language, which was soft and full of music. The Valen children liked to listen to her stories about Earth and laughed when she tried to speak their words. The adults offered her strange but tasty food made from local plants. Megan was happy, but she also missed her family and wondered what they would think if they saw her now. Some of the other humans were not so comfortable. They grew more nervous each day as the Valen came closer to Megan. Some whispered that she was changing, becoming like the Valen. Eric warned Megan that she needed to be careful. He said the mission was to help, not to forget who she was. Megan told him she remembered where she came from, but she also believed she was doing the right thing. One evening, there was a small celebration in the Valen camp. The parents whose children had recovered brought food and played music. Megan was the guest of honor. She felt shy, but the Valen treated her like family. Lord Vareen sat beside her, and they talked about their two worlds, Vela and Earth. Megan told him about her childhood, about playing in the sun and swimming in the ocean. Vareen listened with great interest. He said the Valen used to play in the twilight forest long ago, before the sickness. He smiled for the first time, and Megan saw a gentle side of him she had not seen before. That night, Megan walked alone under the glowing trees. The moon was high, and she felt the cool air on her face. She thought about how much had changed in such a short time. She had come to Vela to help strangers, but now she felt close to them. She wondered if she was really making a difference, or just giving hope for a little while. Suddenly, Megan heard footsteps behind her. It was Lord Vareen. He asked if she was all right. Megan said she was just thinking. Vareen told her that the Valen believed in fate, that some people were meant to come into their lives to bring light in the darkness. He said Megan was such a person. Megan blushed and thanked him. Lord Vareen then asked her why she was not afraid of the Valen. Megan thought about it for a moment. She said she believed kindness was the same everywhere, no matter the world or the people. She said she had seen pain in the eyes of the Valen parents, and she could not turn away. Vareen nodded. He told her that her courage and kindness would not be forgotten. The next morning, Megan woke to find more sick infants waiting. The news of her help had spread, and Valen from faraway villages had come. Megan's body was tired, but she said yes. The doctors were worried. They told her she could get very sick if she gave more blood. Megan asked them to take care of her and promised to stop if she felt too weak. As Megan lay back for the next donation, she looked at the faces around her. The Valen mothers, the doctors, Lord Vareen. She saw hope, fear, and thankfulness. She closed her eyes and thought about her family, about Earth, and about the babies who needed her. She told herself she would keep going as long as she could. Later that day, Megan rested under a warm blanket. She was tired but proud. Lord Vareen visited her and brought her tea made from special Valen herbs. He sat quietly with her, and for a while, neither of them spoke. The Valen children played outside, laughing and calling to each other. Megan thought about her place in this world. She did not know what would happen next, but she felt sure of one thing. She had found a purpose here among the Valen, and she would not give up. The days became quiet and strange for Megan. She was weak, but she did not want to stop helping. Sometimes she would sleep all afternoon. Still, every morning, more Valen parents came to the tent with their babies. Some of the human doctors grew worried and said Megan could not save them all. The team was afraid she might hurt herself if she kept giving blood. Megan listened, but her heart told her to keep going, so she agreed to rest more and give blood less often. Soon, some of the other humans began to act different around Megan. They watched her carefully and whispered when they thought she could not hear. One scientist, Greg, was especially nervous. He thought the Valen were using Megan for their own needs and would forget about her once they were done. He talked with Eric, the leader, about stopping Megan from giving more blood. Eric was worried, too, but he trusted Megan and did not want to force her. Megan felt sad when she heard the whispers. She knew the others did not understand what she felt when she saw a sick baby getting better. She tried to explain, but her words were not enough. She wished her team would trust her as much as the Valen did. Lord Vareen noticed Megan's sadness. He invited her for a walk in the quiet woods. As they walked, Vareen asked Megan about her dreams. Megan told him about her wish to help others and her hope for peace between humans and Valen. She said she was tired, but helping the children made her feel alive. Vareen listened closely. He told Megan that his people had been alone for a long time and were afraid of outsiders. But Megan had given them hope, not just with her blood, but with her kindness. Vareen also told her about his own worries. He said he feared the sickness might come back again, and the Valen would never feel safe. He wondered if it was right to accept so much help from one person. Megan smiled and told him that sometimes one person could change everything. Vareen nodded. He promised to help Megan in any way he could. One afternoon, as Megan sat in the medical tent, a group of Valen arrived in a hurry. They had come from a distant village, bringing sick twins. The babies looked weak, but their eyes were bright. Megan knew she should rest, but she did not want to let them die. She asked the doctors to prepare everything quickly. Eric tried to stop her, saying she was too weak, but Megan would not listen. The doctors helped her give blood to the twins, and again, the change was almost like magic. The babies' breathing calmed and their color returned. That night, Megan could barely walk back to her bed. Lily, the doctor, stayed with her and made her drink water and eat a little food. Megan was dizzy and pale. She fell into a deep sleep filled with strange dreams. In her dreams, she saw Valen children running through forests and Lord Vareen calling her name. She woke up in the middle of the night and found Vareen sitting nearby. He looked worried and stayed with her until she fell asleep again. The next day, the mood in the human camp was tense. Greg had written a message to Earth asking for orders about what to do with Megan and the mission. He was afraid Megan was losing herself. The message would take days to reach Earth, and until then, they could only wait. Some of the team thought they should force Megan to stop. Others thought she was a hero. Megan felt caught in the middle. The Valen camp was different. Now, whenever Megan walked through the village, Valen adults and children would greet her with smiles and gentle words. Some brought her little gifts, flowers, fruit, or soft claws. Megan felt at home among them, but she knew her own team was pulling away from her. One evening, Megan and Vareen sat together outside, watching the strange, glowing plants in the shadows. Vareen spoke softly, telling Megan about an old Valen legend. He said there was a story about a light from another world who came to save the Valen during their darkest time. That light, the legend said, would never be forgotten and would always be loved. Megan listened and felt tears in her eyes. She did not feel like a legend, only a person trying to help. As the days passed, Megan grew weaker, but the Valen children were healthier. The camp became lively again, with laughter and singing. Megan tried to rest, but her mind was full of worry. She was afraid the humans would send her away. She was also afraid the Valen would suffer if she left. One day, Greg came to Megan and told her he had received a reply from Earth. The message said that Megan's health was more important than the mission. They ordered her to stop giving blood immediately. Eric read the message aloud in the meeting tent. Everyone was quiet. Megan did not know what to say. She felt angry and sad. She wanted to help, but now she was being told to stop. Lord Vareen spoke quietly, saying he would not force Megan to do anything. He told Eric and the others that Megan had shown them more kindness than anyone in many years. He said the Valen would never forget her. That night, Megan lay awake, thinking about what to do. She missed her home and her family, but she could not leave the Valen now. She wondered if there was another way to help. Megan felt lost, caught between two worlds. She thought of the Valen children she had saved and the friends she had made. She also thought of Lord Vareen, whose eyes always seemed to watch her with gentle concern. In the early morning, Megan made a decision. She got up quietly and walked through the sleeping camp. She went to the main hall and waited for Vareen. When he arrived, she told him she wanted to help, but she also needed to find a way to live. Vareen listened and nodded. He said there was something she needed to know, a secret about his people and about himself. Megan agreed to listen. She followed Vareen deeper into the shadows of the hall, not knowing what she would discover, but ready to learn the truth. Megan followed Lord Vareen down long, quiet hallways that grew darker with each step. There were old pictures on the walls showing Valen families and children from long ago. Megan felt a little afraid, but she trusted Vareen. At the end of the hallway, Vareen opened a heavy door. The room inside was dim and full of soft blue light from glowing stones. There were shelves of old books, silver cups, and many small jars. Vareen closed the door and turned to Megan. He said there were things she must understand before she made any more choices. He asked her to sit. Megan sat on a soft chair. She was tired, but she listened closely. Vareen explained that the Valen were not like other people in the galaxy. They needed a special kind of energy that could only be found in blood. For hundreds of years, they lived by sharing with each other and never took what was not offered. But a strange illness had changed their blood, making it weak, and their children started to die. When Megan gave her blood, she gave them hope. For the first time in many years, Megan asked if the stories about vampires were true. Vareen said yes, but the Valen were not monsters. They could not live without the gift of life from another being, but they always asked before taking anything. He told Megan that long ago, some Valen tried to take blood by force, but they were cast out forever. Now his people were gentle and careful. They lived in darkness because the light hurt their eyes and made them weak. Vareen said there was a very old way to save a person who gave too much. The Valen called it the embrace. It was a special sharing of blood and life that would change a human forever, letting them live in the Valen way. Megan listened in surprise. She asked if it was dangerous. Vareen nodded. He said it was not for everyone, and once the change was made, there was no going back. But he also said the embrace could save her life and let her stay among his people. Megan sat quietly, thinking. She missed her family and her home on Earth, but she felt a deep connection to the Valen, to the babies she had helped, and to Vareen. She was afraid but also curious about what it would mean to become like them. While they talked, outside the camp was busy. The doctors were packing their things. Eric spoke with Lily about leaving soon. Some of the humans were sad, but most were just tired and wanted to go home. Greg watched Megan's empty bed and wondered where she had gone, back in the quiet room. Megan asked Vareen if he would be the one to give her the embrace. Vareen said yes, if she chose it. He explained what would happen. There would be no pain, only a deep sleep, and when she woke, she would be changed. She would not age as before, and she would see and hear things no other human could. She would also feel hunger for blood, but the Valen had learned to live gently, taking only what was freely given. Vareen promised she would never be alone. Megan felt a strange peace. She stood up and told Vareen she needed to think. He nodded and left her alone. Megan sat in the blue light for a long time, remembering her life on Earth. She saw her family's faces, her old school, the warm sun on her skin. She also saw the faces of the Valen infants she had saved, the parents who had smiled at her, and Lord Vareen's gentle eyes. When she left the room, the camp was quiet. She walked through the shadows, thinking. She saw Nira and her baby Kavi playing in the grass. Nira waved and called Megan to sit with them. Megan held Kavi and felt happy. The Valen children gathered around, telling stories and laughing. For a moment, Megan forgot her worries. Soon, Eric found Megan and asked her what she wanted to do. He said the ship would leave in 2 days. Megan told him the truth. She said she was thinking about staying, about becoming part of the Valen world. Eric was shocked. He said it was not safe. Megan tried to explain how she felt, but Eric did not understand. He asked her to come home, to remember who she was. Megan thanked him and said she needed more time. That night, Megan went to the edge of the woods. She looked up at the sky, full of stars and swirling blue clouds. She thought about all the choices in front of her. She could go back to Earth and leave the Valen forever, or she could stay and risk everything for a new life. Lord Vareen found her there. He stood quietly beside her, looking at the sky. He said he understood how hard her choice was. He promised her she could always choose her own path, and no one would force her. Megan thanked him for being kind. Vareen told her that if she chose to stay, she would be loved and protected. He also said that she would always be able to help others, not just the VYL and Dot. As they talked, a group of Valen mothers walked by, each holding a healthy baby. They stopped and thanked Megan again for saving their children. Megan smiled and felt her heart grow warm. The next morning, Megan woke to the sound of music. The Valen were having a small festival to celebrate the children's health. There were lights in the trees and sweet smells in the air. Megan joined in, laughing and dancing with the others. For a few hours, she forgot about her choice and just enjoyed being with her new friends. Later, as the festival ended, Megan went to see Vereen. She told him she had made her decision. She wanted to stay and help the Valen. She was ready for the embrace. Vereen smiled gently. He said he would be honored. Together, they walked back to the quiet blue room. Megan was afraid, but she trusted Vereen. He asked her one last time if she was sure. Megan nodded. She lay down, and Vereen held her hand. He began the embrace, a gentle sharing of life and hope. Megan closed her eyes, feeling safe. She dreamed of soft blue light and gentle voices. She was not alone. She knew she would wake up changed, but she also knew she had made the right choice. Megan slept for a long time. Her dreams were full of color and light. She saw rivers shining in the night and trees glowing with blue leaves. She heard voices calling her name, some from far away and some close by. There was no pain, only warmth. She felt as if she was floating on soft clouds. She saw memories of Earth, her family, her old room, her friends, but they felt far away, like a story she had heard long ago. When Megan woke up, she did not know how much time had passed. The room was quiet and full of gentle blue light. Lord? Vereen was sitting beside her, his face calm and peaceful. Megan looked at her hands and saw they were a little paler, but strong. She could hear music in the air, soft and sweet, though there was no one singing. She sat up slowly and Vereen helped her. He told her she had slept for 2 days. Megan felt weak at first, but soon her strength grew. The pain and tiredness from before were gone. Vereen smiled and told her that the embrace was complete. She was now one of the Valen. Megan stood and felt light on her feet, like she could run forever. She could see every detail in the dark, from the shapes of stones to the smallest leaf on the ground. She could even hear the quiet heartbeat of Vereen beside her. Everything felt new. Vereen took Megan's hand and led her outside. The camp was quiet in the early morning. Megan could smell the flowers and hear the song of a nightbird. As they walked, Valen children ran up to them, laughing and hugging Megan. She knelt to hold Kavi, Nira's baby, and smiled. The child looked up at her with shining eyes. Megan looked at the other Valen. She could see how their faces glowed with life. Some of them looked at Megan with wonder, happy that she had chosen to join them. Others were quiet, watching her closely. Megan smiled and tried to show she was still herself, only changed. Later that day, Megan went to the human camp. Eric was packing equipment and talking to the other team members. When Eric saw Megan, he stopped and stared. The other humans gathered around, surprised to see her awake and healthy. Megan told them what had happened. She said she was now a Valen and would stay on Vela to help. Some of the team were shocked and even a little afraid. Greg kept his distance, but Lily walked over and hugged Megan. Lily told her she was brave and wished her happiness. Eric tried to understand Megan's choice. He asked her if she was sure about what she wanted. Megan nodded and said she felt at home with the Valen. She thanked Eric and the others for coming to help and for trusting her. Eric shook her hand and wished her luck. He told her the ship would leave soon, and if she ever wanted to return to Earth, she would be welcome. Before the humans left, Megan wrote a message to her family. She told them she was safe and had found a new life. She said she missed them but knew they would be proud of her. She gave the message to Lily, who promised to deliver it when they returned to Earth. After the humans left, Megan focused on learning more about her new life. Vereen taught her the ways of the Valen. She learned how to move quietly through the woods and how to listen to the music of the night. She learned how to use her senses to help others and to take only what was freely given. The Valen respected her kindness and her strength. Megan helped care for the infants, making sure they were healthy and safe. The Valen trusted her to teach their children. Megan told them stories about Earth, about the sun and the oceans, and about hope. The children listened and asked questions, wanting to learn more about her old world. Vereen and Megan spent many evenings together, walking in the quiet gardens. Vereen told her about the ancient Valen, about the legends and songs of his people. Megan listened, and sometimes she would share stories from Earth. They laughed and talked for hours. Megan began to feel a deep love for Vereen, and he for her. They understood each other in a way that words could not explain. Sometimes, Megan felt sad thinking of Earth. She missed the sunshine and her family. But when she saw the happy faces of the Valen children, she knew she had made the right choice. She was needed here. She belonged. One night, there was a big gathering in the main hall. The Valen came from many villages to meet Megan and welcome her as Vereen's eternal beloved. There was music and soft lights, and everyone brought food to share. Megan stood beside Vereen as he introduced her to all the Valen. He spoke gently about her courage, her kindness, and the hope she had given his people. The Valen celebrated by singing old songs and telling stories. They danced in slow circles, holding hands. Megan joined the dance, laughing with the children and feeling the happiness in the room. For the first time, she felt truly part of the Valen world. After the gathering, Megan and Vereen walked outside. The night was quiet and the air was cool. Vereen took Megan's hand and thanked her for staying, for trusting him and his people. Megan said she was grateful to him too. She had found a new home and a new family. As they stood together, Megan looked at the stars above. She remembered her life on Earth, but she was not sad. She felt strong and full of hope. She knew her journey had changed her, but she was happy to be where she was. Megan and Vereen watched the moon rise over the quiet world of Vela. In that moment, Megan understood she was no longer lost. She was home. The days on Vela grew warmer, and the nights were full of soft music and laughter. Megan walked through the village each morning, greeting the Valen with a quiet smile. She had become part of their world, and her new senses made everything brighter and more alive. She could hear children laughing from far away, and she could see every leaf and flower glowing in the darkness. The Valen trusted her, and Megan did her best to help them every day. Many Valen from distant places came to meet Megan. They wanted to see the human who had saved their children and chosen to join their people. Megan always welcomed them kindly. She listened to their stories and learned about their lives. Some brought small gifts like blue stones or sweet fruits to show their thanks. Megan kept these gifts and thought of the families who gave them whenever she felt lonely. Lord Vereen stayed close to Megan. He helped her learn more about Valen ways, teaching her old songs and showing her the secret paths through the shadowy woods. Megan felt safe with him, and their bond grew deeper with each passing day. At night, they often sat together outside the main hall, talking quietly about the future of their people. Megan noticed that the Valen children were growing stronger. No more infants became sick. The new babies were healthy and their mothers were full of hope. Megan and Vereen worked with the other elders to make sure everyone had enough food and safe places to live. Megan showed the Valen how to use simple human tools and helped them plant new gardens. The Valen enjoyed learning new things and thanked Megan for her ideas. Sometimes, Megan thought about her old life on Earth. She remembered the bright sun, the taste of chocolate, and her family's voices. She wondered what her parents thought when they read her letter. She hoped they understood why she had chosen to stay. When the longing grew too strong, Megan would go for a walk with Vereen. He would listen as she talked about Earth, and then he would remind her that she had given hope to many who had none before. One day, a group of humans arrived on Vela. They came in a small ship, bringing medicines and food as gifts. Megan was surprised to see new faces and nervous voices. The human leader, a woman named Karen, asked to meet Megan when Megan stepped forward. Karen was shocked by her pale skin and glowing eyes. She asked if Megan was well and if she wanted to return to Earth. Megan smiled and said she was happy and safe. She thanked the humans for bringing supplies and told them about the work she was doing with the Valen. Karen listened, but some of the humans still looked afraid. They did not understand how Megan could choose a new life so far from home. Megan showed them the healthy Valen children, hoping they would see the good that had come from her choice. Karen met with Lord Vereen and Megan to talk about peace between their two peoples. Megan spoke softly, explaining that kindness and understanding were the most important things. She said both humans and Valen had much to learn from each other. After a long talk, Karen agreed to help the Valen in the future. She promised to tell the Earth Council about the good things happening on Vela. When the humans left, Megan felt both sad and hopeful. She missed Earth, but she also felt proud of her new home and her new family. She believed that someday humans and Valen would truly understand one another. The seasons changed, and Megan's days became busy with work and care for the village. She helped with the gardens, taught the children, and listened to the worries of the mothers. She learned to sing old Valen songs and even taught the children some Earth games. The Valen children laughed as they tried to jump and run like Earth kids. Megan and Vereen grew even closer. They shared their hopes and fears, their dreams for the future. Megan trusted Vereen with her heart. He told her that she was his eternal beloved and that her courage had changed his world forever. Sometimes, Megan had to help with hard problems. Once, a strong storm destroyed part of the village. Megan and Vereen worked together, leading the people as they rebuilt their homes. Megan showed them how to make stronger walls and roofs. The Valen worked as a team, helping each other. And soon the village was safe again. After the storm, there was a celebration. The Valen played music, danced, and thanked Megan for her help. Megan felt shy but happy as the children danced around her. She looked at Vereen and saw love and pride in his eyes. One quiet night, Megan sat alone, looking up at the stars. She remembered all the days that had passed since she first came to Vela. She thought about the babies she had saved, the friends she had made, and the love she had found. She knew her old life was gone, but she was not sad. She was grateful. Megan wrote a letter to her family. She told them about her new life, her new friends, and her love for Vereen. She said she was happy and safe. She thanked them for teaching her to be brave and kind. She hoped one day they would visit Vela and meet her new family. The story of Megan and the Valen spread far and wide. More humans wanted to visit Vela and learn from the Valen. The two peoples began to trade stories, songs, and ideas. Megan helped them talk and learn from each other. She was proud of the bridge she had built between their worlds. As the sun set over the quiet moon, Megan walked through the village with Vereen. They listened to the laughter of children and the gentle songs of the elders. Megan knew that she had found her place in the universe. She was no longer lost or afraid. She was home, and her heart was full of hope for the future.